Welcome. I'm not sure how many people are staying at the Venetian, but I am, and I expect it to be like any other hotel that I've been in. I have very average expectations for it. My room, standard room, 5-piece bath, 3 plasma screen TVs, including one in the bathroom. Sunken living room, very, very decadent. My expectations were really exceeded. When your users come to your site, they're going to have average expectations too. They don't know about how great your site is. They are going to assume it's going to be like every other site that they've been to. With the Messenger Web Toolkit, you can blow your users' expectations away. Let's get that slides up there. Sorry about that. Hi, my name's Chris Parker, and I'm going to talk about 5 killer scenarios using the Messenger Web Toolkit. First, I'd like to review what the Messenger Web Toolkit is. It's a collection of JavaScript and HTML tools used for adding social features to your site. With the Messenger Web Toolkit, you have access to the Windows Live Profile, Windows Live Contacts, Messenger Presence, and the ability to start and receive IM communication on your site. If you haven't had an opportunity to see KG's session yesterday, you should check it out on the web later. So we're going to talk about 5 scenarios. These are scenarios that Windows Live has identified as crucial for a site's success. With the Messenger Web Toolkit, you can make these sites more compelling on your site. The first scenario we're going to talk about is user-generated content. User-generated content, the challenge is getting participation, encouraging users to use your site, to choose your site to spend their time and effort to build. So let's look at a scenario, or a demo. So here we have a comment site. There's photos, and people are participating. They're commenting. But maybe the participation isn't as much as you would like. Maybe you want to really take it to the next level. So let's live it up. Here we're seeing the same content, but now the comments have associated Messenger profile data. So you see a display picture and a display name. On top of that, we also see a web bar at the bottom, which has a full Messenger experience, including the ability to sign in and a contact list. With this, the user is now sharing their identity on your site that they've already chose to share with their friends. This is an identity that they're comfortable with and they want their friends to know about. This is going to increase participation on your site because the user knows they will get recognized for their effort. So we talked about comments here, but it really applies to anything related to user-generated content. It could be taking a poll, or getting a high score in a game, or writing a review for a restaurant. The focus is that you can leverage the Messenger Web Toolkit to show a consistent identity on your site. So let's look at how we actually built this. There's 2 key components, the UI controls and the Messenger web bar. First of all, let's talk about the bar at the bottom. It's just a simple tag, MSGR:bar. The UI controls we used were the display name control and the display picture control. Both of these controls take a single attribute of a SID. A SID is the Windows Live identifier for a user. You need to provide this to us so that we know which user's display name and display picture to show on your site. You get the SID when a user logs onto your site using the Messenger Web Toolkit. As you can see, we built like a very compelling scenario here, and it's very little code required to get it. So the next scenario we're going to talk about is sharing. It's about inviting users to your site, users sharing your content with their friends, getting more users, increasing adoption, going viral. Let's look at the scenario. Here we have a site that has interesting content, but there's no way to share it easily except for taking the link, copying it, and pasting it into an email. There's no encouragement of the user to share this content with their friends. So let's live it up. We see the same content now, but there's a new link. It says, click here to invite someone to chat about this photo. So we click this, and we see there's one contact available. Now, on this PC, I'm also logged in as Michelle on the desktop client just to show interaction. So I click on Michelle, and I click chat. Immediately, we see that a conversation has popped up, including the link to your site, saying to check it out. Michelle sees this on her desktop experience and can say, thanks, and check it out. So now there's this two-way dialogue about your content going on your site as well as in the Messenger experience. So this is a way that you can really go viral. It's a way you can turn your users into your sales force. So let's look at how we built this scenario. In addition to using the UI controls and the Messenger web bar, we're now also using the Messenger library. To go a little deeper, the Messenger bar is exactly the same, msgr::bar. The UI controls that we used were the contact picture, which we saw to select Michelle. There was also a submit button with an on-click event, and the on-click event found all selected contacts in that contact picker, and then started a conversation with each of them. This is very similar to the demo that we just saw by Jordan. So again, a very compelling scenario using the same building blocks that we saw in Jordan's scenario as well as in the first scenario, but we're doing something new with it. We're using these building blocks to build different compelling scenarios. And again, very little to get a whole lot. So the next thing we're going to talk about is community. We all want our sites to be a community, a place where users feel comfortable to participate and to congregate. Again, let's look at the example. So here, there's a site. The content is still interesting, but there's no sense of history or a sense that people have been to this site before, that they're going to come to it again. It feels lonely. So let's live it up. In this sample, we're seeing the people that are also looking at this photo at this time. It shows that there's other people that are like me that are also interested in tulips. There's more of a sense of community. The site is being more of a host to its users. Again, this is a photo site with people also looking at this photo. That might not be applicable to your site. Maybe your site, it's more appropriate to have a news feed feature or a friend recommendation feature. The goal is that you can leverage the Messenger Web Toolkit to make those community features shine. The next thing we're going to talk about is instant social network. The challenge is creating a great first run experience and reducing bounce rate. Bounce rate is a huge challenge that almost every site faces. People go to a site one time, and then they seem to never return. And constantly coming up with new techniques to make that first run experience great, to pull users in and make your site part of their lives, is a challenge that we all face and we all are constantly working to make better. So let's look at how you can leverage the Messenger Web Toolkit to make a great first run experience. So this is a site. It's a photo site. This is the first time I've ever logged into it. I click sign in. I then need to enter in my credentials. And then I'm brought to the profile page for this site. Here you see, the very first time I've logged in, I already have a display picture, a display name, and 3 friends on this site. This is leveraging the Windows Live contacts and the Windows Live profile to create an experience that already feels like home. I'm already seeing familiar faces. I'm already seeing my own name on this site without any work from me to populate. The goal is to get users up and running as quickly as possible and to create a great experience around that. The last scenario we're going to talk about is real-time social experiences. This is about differentiating your site from your competitors. Let's look at the scenario. So in this example, we have a Silverlight app that is for picking sessions for a conference. In this, it also has Messenger integration, so I can sign into Messenger. And since I just signed in recently, it has my credentials cached, so I'm immediately signed in. And now I'm going to select a session that I'm interested in. Actually, I think I need to sign out and sign back in again. There we go. So I'm going to choose threat modeling. So I drag threat modeling onto Michelle. And then Michelle receives an instant message, including the URL and title for this session. Michelle can then choose to go to this and then collaborate with me in real time to pick sessions that we're both interested in attending. This is real-time collaboration on the web. So the question is, how could this apply for your site? Most likely, there's not very many people who have a site for conference sessions. But let's talk about Redfin. In Redfin, you and your significant other, maybe you're trying to pick out what houses you guys want to go to this weekend. And you can collaborate, dragging and dropping the properties that you're interested in to figure out together what places you want to look at. Let's talk about another example. Let's say you're picking out shoes for Nike ID, and you really love hot pink, but you're not sure how well it goes with fuchsia. So you want to ask one of your friends, hot pink and fuchsia, is it good or not? You can use the Messenger Web Toolkit to have your friends work with you on the Nike Live ID site, the Nike ID site, to pick out great shoes. So it's really about creating unique, compelling experiences with the Messenger Web Toolkit that differentiate you from your competition. At the end of the day, we all want users to love our sites, to want to invite their friends to our sites, and to come back for more. This is extremely challenging. With the Messenger Web Toolkit, we're making it easier. Thank you for attending. I'd like to call out a couple things. First, please check out the dev.live.com/messenger site, as well as blogs.msdn.com/messenger. Also, we're going to be having a meetup about the Messenger Web Toolkit from 1 to 2 today at Third Place. Is that correct, guys? Yes? OK. Please, any questions? Yes.
Great. My question is, what do you think when you just go, I've got a client who doesn't want to use live, but I know they want to do all that social networking stuff.
So, okay. So the question is, people might not want to choose to use Live ID as the authentication mechanism, but they still want these compelling social features. So I guess there's two different ways to look at it. One is you don't need to leverage Windows Live ID as the authentication mechanism. You can still have your own login system, yet you'd still just as part of the joining of the site process, you can have them sign up to use your site with Messenger. So then when they logged in, they would use your credentials, but you would store as part of those credentials the Messenger token. Does that make sense? So it would mean in
Why is it like they have to re-authenticate their whole database for this new service?
they would need to have an upsell to their existing users saying,
Yeah.
try out this to extend your experience.
And have you got any live sites yet? Like, not as in live,
Uh-huh.
that are out there on the market?
So Jordan's site will be out in the market soon.
No, then you just released the module for it last night at 2 a.m. I found out in the car.
Okay, so the answer is yes, but 2 o'clock last night.
I guess there's one other thing about we've made it easy for there to be both a mix of users on a site that have signed up with Live and then users on the site that haven't signed up with Live. So they can easily interact, see each other's display names, profile pictures, regardless of whether they use Live or not. But the only thing that you wouldn't be able to do is see presence or IM. To do that, you would upsell the user to signing up for Live. As in, are you asking? Localization is not something that we have done yet, but that is one of our top priority things to do next.
So do you have a roadmap on other things that you're going to be doing?
I don't believe that we have a roadmap that we can publish at this time. I'm sorry.
1 o'clock at third place.
Yes, 1 o'clock at third place. No problem. Is there any other questions? Thank you.